It's Sunday, August the 2nd, and we're still here. Hey, you're listening to the Republic of Texas Radio here on Republic Broadcasting. That's republicbroadcasting.org. Wonderful, wonderful network. You can find my stuff over at rtradio.org as well. That's the archive stuff. Hey, this last week has been incredibly tough for me. And, you know, not for life-type reasons, probably more for communications-type reasons. You know, I was forced to listen to AM radio all week long. And, well, that's got my soul kind of like twitching. Because in AM radio or traditional talk radio, people talk about useless stuff. They talk about it and they tell you how they want to boss people around and take care of all sorts of stupid problems. You know, last week I heard about a lion, right? And so they're upset because of dentists, right? And dentists care a lot. They like fluoride and they like to, well, whatever, dentists. They like to go hunting in Africa and shoot favorite lions and whatever. Is that important? No, not to me. We've got many problems in our world. AM radio also wanted to tell me how some chick was running around Austin and she was getting whistled at, and now the city council has to take action and stop people from sexually harassing her while she's running around the streets. I don't know much about that case, and I really don't want to know much about that case because that has been going on since the dawn of time, and it doesn't matter. It's completely pointless. Meanwhile, we've got, baby harvesting for parts. I mean, there's so many issues that need to be talked about, but AM radio doesn't talk about it. Here at Republic Broadcasting, there's a variety of hosts that'll talk about, you know, the normal stuff, the important stuff. John Statmiller had a great show on Friday. Thank God I was in town for Friday's show. You know, talking about the links between autism and vaccines is an important topic. Why is it that your doctor instantly says, well, it's not the vaccines? He won't even look into it. It's just, you know, hearsay. Go back into the archives, you know, listen to Statmiller's show. It's called the National Intel Report. And I don't want to do this just to, you know, pitch Republic Broadcasting, but Republic Broadcasting is incredibly important in the universe. So much so. And I can point you to all sorts of interesting places where you can find real information. And I know this is just going up to the RBN crowd, and I get that. But I have multiple distribution sources that don't know about Republic Broadcasting, so it's very important that I talk about this. So I'm only going to spend a couple seconds. Govern America. If you're dealing with that thing, you know, from a few weeks ago where they're dealing with Confederate flags and, you know, we got to take down all the Confederate flags. I hate the Confederate States. It's all about slavery. That is wrong. Okay. We will address that in the future. Maybe, I guess. Maybe not. But if you go to governamerica.com, you'll be able to see a nice little write-up on, well, the myths of the Confederate history. What was the Civil War about? GovernAmerica.com. You can read that. It's front page right now. You can listen to Govern America here on Republic Broadcasting. It's on 10 o'clock to, I think it's 10 to noon on Saturdays. Yeah, Darren wasn't on this week, but he'll be back next week. It's really good. But I've always liked listening in the morning time. So one of my favorite things is listening to some of these morning hosts like Darren Weeks and Farron Shope. Farron Shope's show is The Alternate Media. And he moved from morning until nighttime, and that's kind of got me shocking because I like my morning hosts and so forth. So I've got a little bit of a, you know, a hole in my, you know, listening pleasure zone, I guess it was. It's like what happened when this slot that you're listening to me in right now, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. opened up. Ryan Brooks used to do the show, and man, that was one of my favorite things. Get up in the morning on Sunday and listen to Ryan Brooks talk about, well, freedom, how we're not free. And that's going to be the theme of the Republic of Texas radio. We want freedom for Texas. It's a fallback position for me. I look at the United States of America and I sit there and go, man, how are we going to get all these different people to come together to say enough? Well, I don't know if we can do that. So I take my fallback position. I say, well, let's try Texas. Let's try reaching out to them. And that's working in a variety of different ways. I guess I ruffled a few feathers the other week when I brought on Issa Hodge, right? I think I got his name right. Sorry, Issa. Issa came on and he talked about, the Muslim faith and, how he does Issa, let me just give you a little bit of background. He has a radio show called A Muslim and a Catholic Wake Up in America, right? They dropped the A and, I'm not too sure why, right? And maybe it just sounds better. America, I don't know. It's the corporate United States. And there's lots of people with lots of faiths and so forth. And so Issa comes on. He starts telling us about all the similarities between, U.S. statutory law and Sharia law. And I found that absolutely fascinating because he took offense to a lot of people pointing fingers at, like Sharia law, saying, dude, you already live in it. Right? You just don't got a lot of the parts that we put in it from the Quran and all this other stuff. And I go, okay, I get it. Now, this show isn't about, it's about everything. It's about freedom. It's about restoring Texas as a republic. But I also needed to address one thing on there, and that is, the Republic of Texas, the Texas Constitution, deals with something called English common law. So to counter that, and to try to get some frame, I had to get some understanding of what English common law is. And I found out that there are so many different opinions on what that was. Went ahead and I made a list of different people to call and talk to and, try to figure out what is English common law. Why should we like that over, United States statutory law? Well, I called my guest for today, and I said, hey, your name was on the short list, and in fact, he was on the top of the list because I've heard him speak, quite a few times, and he has interesting thoughts. Well, his first thing that he said to me was, I don't support English common law. And I said, fascinating. Tell me more. Well, okay, we'll let him tell you more. He's going to be coming on in a second. He's having some computer difficulties or something like that. But I need to go on and tell you that Dr. David Krupa and Susie Kamick's trial is coming up on this Tuesday. That's going to be very interesting and promises to be a, landmark event because it's Tuesday, August the 4th at 9 a.m. in Kerrville. That's at 700 Main Street. Why is it a landmark event? Well, it is the pretrial hearing, so the trial has yet to start. The interesting thing, that I find, Frankie Nieto and myself will be covering that event, and last week I heard from a couple different sources that there are people from, the Texas Nationals. Now, let me back up one more step and say, in Texas, there are three major groups pushing towards freedom and independence in Texas. One of them is the Republic of Texas, and you can find them at thetexasrepublic.com. Also, Freedom Texas, that's freedomtexas.org, or Texas Nationals, texnat.org. Okay, so they're all pushing the same direction, right? And they've never gotten together previously. And it looks like we're going to have some Texas Nationals over at the trial. Well, I don't know. I put in a call to Daniel Miller. He's the head of the Texas Nationals. And I said, hey, man, I heard this rumor. Is it true? And then I got silence. Oh, well. But I talked back to my birdies and I said, hey, who'd you hear this from? Why don't you echo to your birdies to, well, show up? Because I contacted the Freedom Texas folks and I said, hey, wouldn't that be great to have all three groups show up just in a, this will be the first time ever. And you know what they asked me? It was like, well, what is this for? And I said, well, it's for, Doc Krupa, David Krupa, and the Valentine's Day raid on the Republic of Texas, and this and this. And I played my little violin for him and told him the whole story. And I'm not going to get into the whole story. Next week, we will go through the story one more time. But this week, and so he says, well, no. What is it for? I go, man, okay, yeah, we have an event, and the event is the arraignment or the pretrial hearing for Dr. David Krupa and Susie Kamek. But you know what? I want you to show up for the love of Texas. All of us can come together and unite under a single cause. And the cause shouldn't be hostile or violent. We've had enough hostility and violence in this world. We can come together in love and respect and care, so that's what it's for. We're coming together and we're saying, hey man, I support you because it's important. You're fighting for freedom and independence. I understand that. So, I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I'm tired of fighting. I'm tired of, the corporate United States watching different things take control while we're looking at lions, right? I don't... Okay, some guy has a dentist's office and he wants to fly all the way to Africa, hire a couple people to go, shoot some lions. Do I have a problem with that? Not really. I mean, he has the money, but his profession isn't the most honest and straightforward of professions, right? They're doing it to help, fix your teeth, but, the Dentist Association stands against fluoride or for fluoride. Well, actually, I'm looking at it as against because I don't like fluoride. And I don't believe that, drinking it in your water, this toxic substance would be good for your teeth when there's no science behind that. So I see him as in a business that's, not so good. And I understand teeth are very important, but they're kind of being led around by the nose ring, like those doctors that are told, hey, just because we injected you with a vaccine and your kid came down with, turned autistic, that doesn't have any kind of correlation. Oh, crazy people. Hey, I got an email from Bruce Bullock. Bruce Bullock is the Speaker of the House over at the Republic of Texas. And he'd like to remind everybody, if you're a Texian and you're running for elections here in September, it's time. You got to get your affidavits in and, submit your paperwork to the Secretary of the State. That's Billy Ford. Complete that stuff. You can bring it to next week's meeting. Oh, yeah, next week's meeting. Oh, I guess we got Jerry on the line. Hold on. Let me deal with the elections and so forth. That's going to be in Tomball, and we'll just leave it at that. Go to thetexasrepublic.com, and you can get a little bit of map. Click on that and do whatnot. Let's get back to Jerry because this should be really fun. We're going to have a call-in show. So I haven't been very good at taking a lot of callers. So let me just start throwing that phone number out. And it's 800-313-9443. That's 800-313-9443. My special guest is Jerry Lahr. And, Jerry, are you there?
I think I am. Can you hear me?
You are there, Jerry. That's wonderful.
Life's good, isn't it?
Yeah, life is good. Hey, I was telling the folks a little bit earlier about how I contacted you to talk about English common law, because I know you know a lot about English common law. And you told me you don't really support English common law. Let's start there. What do you support, Jerry?
Well, wait a minute. I just got a cough a minute. Okay. It's not that I don't support common law, because there are good components of common law, and we've got proof that common law doesn't work, and so what we have to do is go dig deeper in for ourselves. We have to understand that we have a model of a world that was given to us probably 6,000 years ago that is no longer valid. And that model that we work from determines all of our perceptions, all of our thoughts, all of our reactions, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's why I like to take a back seat on common law, because even if I go really deep into common law, I'm always going to run into controversy, what Koch said, what the different people have said about this and that. Right. And then I also have the common law was also always under a quote-unquote ruler.
Government. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I get that. When you say 6,000 years, you're dating this back to where? Early civilizations?
Well, I'm going back. Yeah, Peloponnesian, way back, recorded history. We've got, we know where people came from. It's all well documented. And,
I just wanted to get, an understanding of where you're coming from. Because, a lot of people think that English common law came from, England or something like that. And maybe it was a variant of common law.
I'm sorry, I mixed that up. Because our model started back 6,000 years ago. And the English common law, as far as I can tell, did come from England, and it was principles that are probably, in my mind, are better expressed in natural law.
Mm-hmm. And natural law, exerts that, you are your own being, you're responsible for yourself, and nobody's responsible for you, correct?
Yeah, I think the best way that I've found to express it is the fact that, we were created by a creator. Different people have different names for the creator. Nevertheless, the creator exists. And when the creator created this planet and this galaxy and this universe, certain things were created, like gravity was created, and that's a constant. Archimedes discovered way back that pi was 3.14159, and that is a principle that no matter where I go in the world, I take a circle and I measure its diameter and I pi the diameter. I'm going to go find out what the circumference of a circle is. Never changed. Anywhere I go in the world and I take water and I put it in a tube and I wiggle the tube around, water will always seek its own level. Doesn't matter if I'm on top of the mountain, bottom of the ocean, it's always going to seek its own level. And then no matter where I go in the world, if I take any triangle and add up the different angles of each A, B, and C part of the triangle, it's always going to equal 180 degrees. So these are principles that have never changed and will never change. And in the natural law, the principles that exist basically exist across all religions, all society, and basically that's do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And that I was given by my Creator unalienable rights that I can give away.
Yeah. Hey, we're backed up against a break. This will be a quick one. It's only about 3 minutes. We'll be coming back. This is a call-in show, 800-313-9443. I have Jerry Lahr on the line, and you're listening to the Republic of Texas Radio.
Plants on Earth, and none have the nutritional value of the hemp plant. HempUSA.org offers you hemp protein powder. It does not contain chemicals or THC, is non-GMO, and is 100% gluten-free. Hemp protein powder burns fat, builds muscle, contains 53% protein, and feeds the body the nutrients it needs. Call 888-910-4367 and see what our powder, seeds, and oil can do for you. Only at HempUSA.org.
Come to Finca Baiano, a small community in Panama, which is being established for people who believe that a future crisis may be difficult to survive in North America after a collapse of the system. Go to bugoutpanama.com for more information. There is limited space for 100 people only. Go to bugoutpanama.com to immigrate as long as you can. Prepare. Don't despair at bugoutpanama.com.
Dr. Joel Wallach, author of the famous health lecture Dead Doctors Don't Lie, presents his newest book, Epigenetics. Epigenetics is required reading for the very survival of Americans, and yes, all of humanity. Modern man has bet on the wrong horse to save them from disease and pestilence. The medical system has failed us fearfully. Join the health revolution. Buy Epigenetics today and receive a free membership to purchase all the products that Dr. Joel Wallach formulated at wholesale prices, and receive a free CD of Dead Doctors Don't Lie. All this for only $25 plus shipping and handling. Call 888-311-4311. That's 888-311-4311. Again, that's just $25 plus shipping and handling. And you'll receive the new book, Epigenetics, a free membership, and a free CD of Dead Doctors Don't Lie. Call 888-311-4311. That's 888-311-4311.
Corporate media dominates the American opinion. Finding independent voices that counter this avalanche is becoming increasingly difficult. With the endless corruption running rampant throughout our government, independent voices are needed more than ever to battle the offensive against our freedoms and liberties. As a listener of RBN, no one understands this concept better than you. Now it's up to you to do your part. The time has come for you to take action and begin broadcasting the truth to hundreds or thousands of people every month. Sound impossible? Quite the contrary. With pointed slogans from LibertyStickers.com, you can reach countless sleeping Americans unaware that they live in a real-life wonderland. LibertyStickers.com has a huge inventory of political bumper stickers and messages that reflect the truth about our government, our politicians, and the future of America. With so many in stock, there's one perfect for you. Visit us today at LibertyStickers.com. Again, that's LibertyStickers.com. Do your part. Your voice is important. Let it be heard.
Okay, we're back. You know, I've got to change that bumper music because we're not fighting here. I'd like to say we're communicating. In fact, communication is so important. You're listening to the Republic of Texas radio show. I'm your host, Steve O'Brien, and it's, well, August 2nd. I've got Jerry Lahr on the line, and, you know, Jerry was just telling me about inalienable rights, and he was kind of like talking a little bit about that. And inalienable rights, from what I understand, means that they can't be taken away, but you can give away your rights or just acquiesce. I like to look at the Bible when I think about that, and, you know, there's this story in the Old Testament, you know, blah, 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 and they say that the Israelites, they go to God and go, everybody else has, well, a king, I want a king, and how did that turn out for them? I don't know, you guys know. Anyways, Jerry, inalienable rights and governments, is that, you know, that story from the Old Testament, that was the creation of a government, right, a monarchy?
Yeah, but let's go back to unalienable and inalienable, if you would, please.
Ah, there you go.
Because unalienable is, if we go back to the founding documents that go way back, that's always was unalienable, because unalienable were rights that were given to us by the Creator, that the word un means not able, that we were not able to give away. Now I can go into Black's Law Dictionary or any law dictionary, and I can find inalienable, and there are rights that were given to us by the Creator that quote unquote, we can sign away or forfeit. So the lawyers like to use the inalienable when in fact anything we're going to converse about is unalienable, because I can't delegate my freedom to you, or else I'm going to be in a form of slavery. Mm-hmm. And the Creator didn't put me down here as a slave.
True. Well, at least I totally agree with you on that point. But, you know, people have been given away their rights, or at least acquiescing to other people's powers since, well, probably like you said, 6,000 years or more.
Well, and the reason, as I see it, again, that's why I went back 6,000 years when I should have said our model goes back of quote-unquote government, because back then, you know, we were hunter-gatherers, and I am sure that the guy who was the best hunter and the strongest guy in the tribe was the guy who made the rules. And the people around him were dependent upon him to show them how to hunt, to feed them, and if they had disagreements in the tribe, he would settle them. I'm pretty sure that's the way things work. And that model has come along, and that's what has eventually turned into a monarchy when the kings started taking over, and all they did was war with other countries so that they could create a bigger kingdom. And that's the model that we came from. And so that influences our thinking. And we've always heard, you and I from the time we were born, were heard that the government this, the government that. Your teacher tells you what to do, the police. It wasn't so much the police back then, but all these other things are there for you to learn from them.
Right.
And these systems haven't taught us anything other than to be compliant. And so that's why I think that I have to go sideways from the common law, although it still is the common law, talk about natural law, because natural law has a foundation that is well defined, and everyone can assimilate that and relate to it on a daily basis without we're changing our model, if you will.
Well,
and
sure.
That's what. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No. I want. Oh, hold on. 800-313-9443. Yeah, any questions? You can come in too. I know it's sideways from common law. I look at the Republic of Texas as a avenue to, well, let's just call it ramp back the encroaching police state. Because we live in the corporate United States. It's easy to call it that. It's what it is. And it's constantly rolling over all the individuals who, through acquiescence or, well, general agreement, are participating in it. Now, we take a look at the group called the Republic of Texas and how they want to return to the 1836 as amended 2007 Constitution. God, where am I going with that? As far as common law goes, we're just going from one government, not common law. As far as governments go, we're just going from one different type of authorities to another. And we'll talk about that when we get back from this next break.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Recent events have shown just how vulnerable we are to deadly viruses, bacteria, and fungus. These diseases are all caused by infectious pathogens that often get the upper hand on conventional medical treatments. Now more than ever, there's a great need for a product that will help protect us. Look no further. Supernatural Silver can provide immune system support to help fight off these deadly pathogens. Supernatural Silver is a new and vastly improved type of silver solution that's safe and extremely effective against 143 types of bacteria bacteria, both forms of viruses, mold, and yeast. Supernatural Silver can be taken orally or used topically and can be used in a nebulizer or vaporizer for inhalation. With over 180 scientific studies by independent universities, hospitals, and research institutions, Supernatural Silver is a powerful weapon against disease. Go to supernaturalsilver.com and use the promo code SILVER2014 for 20% off your entire order. Give you and your loved ones a fighting chance with Supernatural Silver.
There are many water filters to choose from, but there is only one system that is consistently customer rated 5 stars as the #1 system for effective filtration of fluoride, radiation, drug residues, heavy metals, a wide range of radioisotopes, and more. Introducing the Pure Effect Ultra, the next generation water filter that also raises alkaline pH, improves antioxidant potential, and has advanced anti-radiation technology, all while using no electricity. Sold worldwide, it provides virtually instant clean water on demand. It is not made in China, and the shipping is free to all 50 states. Buy your Pure Effect Ultra today by visiting PureEffectFilters.com. or call 888-891-4821. Again, that's 888-891-4821. Or visit PureEffectFilters.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Extendovite really works. Here is what people are saying.
Heart problems were in my family, and I did notice these chest pains occasionally. I decided to try it, and I don't think I'm going to stop for quite a while. Nothing has worked as well as this product has promised to. I've taken, supplements and that sort of thing, and never really noticed a difference.
Well, I turned 60, and when I went into the doctor to get my reports, the lady at the desk, she looked at it, and she says, "Wow." I says, "What's that say?" So she came back and looked at my last check. She says, "Well, you've gone down half on your cholesterol." So she says, "I guess don't do a thing, only what you're doing right now."
To get your Extendovite, call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Dr. Joel Wallach, author of the famous health lecture Dead Doctors Don't Lie, presents his newest book, Epigenetics. Epigenetics is required reading for the very survival of Americans, and yes, all of humanity. Modern man has bet on the wrong horse to save them from disease and pestilence. The medical system has failed us fearfully. Join the health revolution. Buy Epigenetics today and receive a free membership to purchase all the products that Dr. Joel Wallach formulated at wholesale prices and receive a free CD of Dead Doctors Don't Lie. All this for only $25 plus shipping and handling. Call 888-311-4311. That's 888-311-4311. Again, that's just $25 plus shipping and handling. And you'll receive the new book, Epigenetics, a free membership, and a free CD of Dead Doctors Don't Lie. Call 888-311-4311. That's 888-311-4311.
Okay. Well, this is a longer segment. You can call in 1-800-313-9443. We were talking to Jerry Lahr. I'm your host, Steve O'Brien, on Republic of Texas Radio. We were talking about I was talking about moving from one government into another government. And I'm going to quote this real quick. This is from a document that Jerry Lahr had sent me earlier on during our discussions about him coming online. And I agree with this. Government is a disease masquerading as its own cure. That's a fascinating thing. As we roll back a government from, let's say, what this democracy we live in, the corporate United States of America, into a republic, it's just kind of like reverting back to another state of government, and it'll grow up and become a behemoth again. And that's kind of what I'm doing today, is kind of bringing light to that subject and saying, well, maybe it's not the cure, but it's a step in the right direction. What's the other step? What's the other direction, Jerry? Where do you go with that? Is there a better way?
Are you asking me, Steve?
Yes, sir. Yeah. So I want to know, how do we get free from where we're at? Is it a step towards? Go ahead.
Okay, number one, we have this model, and the model has to be changed because we've got 6,000 years of history that it's not working. The Roman Empire supposedly is the reference point for the first republic that lasted 3 times longer than we have already lasted. And of course, it crumbled and we went into the Dark Ages. And every republic since then has turned into what's happening to us today. They're being robbed blind and all of our property taken, phony money, people in jail. The system just repeats itself over and over and over again. So I believe the important thing is that we all speak the same language and understand the basis of laws and getting along as society. And that particular thing is that I was put on this planet, given unalienable rights, and I own my own body, and I own my own property, and I own my own labor, as do you. And my rights are to keep that which I own and possess, and that's my job, and your job is likewise to keep what you own, possess, and develop. And a real good illustration of this is a video that we can find on the internet, and if anybody can't find it, we can get the URL to you. It's the Simple Philosophy of Liberty. And when I understand that, then I have the basis of natural law, which is also the basis of common law. And now I have a legitimate framework from which I can operate, and I can make decisions on my own to compare what's going on to what I know to be the truth. And so if I understand this simple truth, now I have something that I know I can work and I can communicate about, because I can discuss this in a common language where I don't have to, well, so-and-so said, so-and-so said. No. You and I both agreed that this is what it is. Let's go forward. And that's where the republics break down, because they're assumed that people have delegated to the government certain authorities. Well, I believe those were unalienable rights. Those things, my life, my labor, all of these things were unalienable, and I can't delegate them to the government. They also gave me freedom. I can't delegate my freedom to the government. It also said, do unto others, thou shalt not kill. Well, I can't delegate to the government to go over and kill this person. Thou shalt not steal. I can't delegate my authority to the government to take money from you to pay for something, because I can't take money from you to pay for something without your permission and without your consent. Well, if I don't have that authority to do that, which is both in common law and in natural law, then how can I delegate that to somebody else? I'm incapable of delegating a power that I do not possess. And once we understand that, then we're in charge of the law. Because we all know, so-and-so said, so-and-so said, so-and-so, and now we get in arguments all the time, and we got the Bar Association to deal with that we're going to lose every time, because they change the rules daily. Mm-hmm. So this is the foundation I believe we must really work on, and then that way, all we have to do is better understand that which we possess, so that it actually shows up as unlawful, illegal, and impossible to delegate these authorities.
Now, I hear where you're coming from, and I agree with what you're saying, right? But then I try to project that out, and the only thing that we can do is talk about it, right? How, I don't have the right to give a group of individuals the right to kill somebody, right? But then that's done constantly throughout the world, and this model, lots of people just don't get it, right? But we face a particular challenge in today's society, and I'm sure that other other civilizations, if you say that the Roman Empire ceased at one time, I kind of see it as morphing into another entity, and maybe they just keep morphing through time and just screwing us differently under different names like a corporation does. But how do we get from the democracy? I guess you answered it, sort of, but I just can't visualize it. How do we get from a democracy, which we live under right now, where people are oppressing you and I, and they are doing in our name, well, not my name and not your name, but they claim to have, our best intentions as they go blow up people, kill people, throw people in jail, and all that other stuff, right? How do we get to freedom?
Well, I would ask you the question. I would question you about your freedom. Do you feel you are free? And the answer will always be no, of course, right?
Yes, no, I'm not free.
And so now, obviously, there's 300 million plus people right here in the U.S. of A., and there's 550 some kind of human beings that control us 300 million. And they do it through all different kinds of machinations, but once we start talking 1 to 1 to 2 to 4 to 8 to 6, once we understand what the truth is, then we're able to do something about it. Mm-hmm. And it looks like it is a huge job. And everything that we've ever done on this planet has always been impossible until it was done.
Right.
So okay. The deal is, you want to put it off another 6,000 years, or you want to start now changing the paradigm, changing the model?
I think I'm going to go with now. So we'll continue this conversation. And this is a call-in show, 1-800-313-9443. We got Tom in Florida. He's on the line right now. Hey, Sam, why don't you go ahead and bring him on? Let's see what his thoughts are. Hey, Tom, are you there?
Hello.
Hello, Tom.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you just fine. What's going on, man?
Yeah, no, I'm listening to your show this morning, and it's always occurred to me that, with all the problems that we have, you kind of got to start at a grassroots level. And what's always puzzled me that with over 3,000 counties in this country, not one county has taken it upon themselves to basically, get themselves a proper sheriff, have him deputize, literally would have to deputize hundreds, if not thousands, of able-bodied, righteous men within the county, and then basically straighten out the court system in the county and not allow anything that didn't pass, common law or constitutional muster to occur within that county. Because I don't think that you can take a state over, but you can take your county over. If you're in a big battle, one of the rules is you have to retreat back to what's known as a defensible position. Well, trying to take over a whole state isn't very easy to do, but you could, within your county, take your county over, and then hopefully the county next door would possibly see what you're doing and realize, hey, that's a free county over there. They don't allow any of the federal agencies in. They don't allow the IRS to harass the citizens. They don't allow the code enforcement to intimidate the people. Hey, we want some of that too. And then kind of like a good disease, county to county, you would take back your state. I mean, we really should be called the United Counties of America, because the states are, I would say, impossible to convert. They're just too big. You got too much. It's too far away from the average person. But a county is actually, it's possible to take your county back. And as far as the law and the way people conduct themselves, the only way any kind of a legal system would work is if the fabric of society, and in our case, Christianity. In other words, if we obeyed the Ten Commandments in our hearts or tried our best.
Hey, Tom, I understand the philosophy that you're going with, and, I've met Sheriff Richard Mack, and he's working on that out in Nevada, I believe it is, and trying to form the first county thing. But actually, there's all sorts of different vectors you can go after a county. My push to create, to free Texas actually affects my county more, and so I'm doing more for my county by going after the state, but I want to hear, what are your thoughts on that, Jerry? You know that philosophy, the free your county first?
Well, that has started in many places, and I agree that the county level is the place to start. And you can't develop momentum and you can't develop mass without those people that are in charge of this understanding what they're doing. And everything seems to be that we're pushing against something, and everybody has a different idea of how to push against that, and that's great. And what I feel we need to do is we need to understand what the reality is and what the costs are, so then we can put a simple value on what that means to us financially, spiritually, morally, and what it does for our overall well-being as a county. And once that starts catching on, this whole thing isn't going to go on overnight, obviously, but once it catches fire, wildfires spread. And everybody was born with unalienable rights. Everybody was born with freedom. And those of us who were born 60 years ago have a different idea of what freedom is than those who were born today. 60 years ago, we were free to do a whole lot of things, and today the kids can't do anything, and so they got to keep them in school and put them on drugs just to keep them numb. And so we have a culture today that's numb. We have a culture today that doesn't mind if a cop sticks his gun in the car and blows your head off. It's different than what it is. But if you take that at the county level, and no one can do anything out of ignorance and expect to create results. So the people have to, I believe, learn, be taught, show how to identify the truth of what really does exist and what our Creator envisioned for us and what our Creator provides. And we take that to the county level, it's all over. Because once everybody understands it, they don't know what they're born in the water. Fishes are born in the water. They don't know they're in the water until you take them out. The same as the people in the county. They're used to paying 8.25% on tax on this. They're used to paying tax. They're used to having $60 million schools that they're paying for. All these things are just, that's what happens. No, that's what's happening now. However, that has not led us to be a greater country or a greater people or more of anything except bigger in debt and fewer liberties.
Hey, Tom, I'll give you the last word, but before that, Sheriff Richard Mack was living here in Fredericksburg, and I had quite a few conversations with him, and he tried to make he did make a big change, but everybody was kind of like, where are you coming from, man? Because he started talking about, a sheriff being the head person in the county. And when he went over and talked to our sheriff, Buddy Mills looked at him like he was from another planet. He ran for Congress here in Fredericksburg or Gillespie County. We made a push, but we also understood at the end of that thing that we weren't ready. We didn't have the masses up. We need to kind of prepare the people for freedom and liberty and get the dialogue already started. So when we have an individual that's willing to, I guess what Jerry is trying to get at is we will empower that individual, but empowering that individual doesn't God, that gets all complicated because we can't empower him to kill other people, do anything. Unalienable rights means we can't give them away, but we can have them stand for us. And I'll talk to Jerry a little bit about that, But Tom, you have any last words?
Oh, yeah, I could talk for an hour.
Well, let's do it pretty quick because we got another call coming on.
Well, as far as showing the people what the benefits are, okay, within a county. Within that county, if the sheriff and his men, which would be all of us, not just, like we have now, said, okay, take the plate off your car, drive with impunity. You don't owe insurance. You don't have to pay all these fees. What a huge financial burden that would lift off everybody in the county. Even the less sophisticated people, which are most of them, who don't even think about the stuff we're talking about, would instantly realize the benefit of, hey, this is great. How about a man who wants to put an addition on his house? And he goes, hey, I'm going to build it. I'm not have to worry about anybody. I'm free. Or he doesn't get the money taken out of his paycheck. I mean, that would be at the very basic level. Everybody would understand that, and that would be the beginning. And basically, if the sheriff, who'd have to be a very brave man, could rely on other men who would stand behind him. I mean, he'd be in big trouble if he tried to do this by himself, but he'd have to have literally the heart and soul of all the men in the county, and there wouldn't necessarily be violence. But boy, there would be such a powerful force standing behind him. If anybody came in and said, hey, we're going to try to muscle in on you, like, say, the federal government or over something or other, all these men would just have to stand up, hanging on to, let's say they're all got rifles, and they go, look, I got 10,000 men here, say you can't do that. Now, they're all at home,
okay.
But I just push a button, they'll show up.
Thanks, Tom. Call in again. 1-800-313-9443. You're listening to the Republic of Texas Radio with Jerry Lahr and Steve O'Brien. Bye.
Your money. What is it worth today? A $100 bill in 1913 is worth only $2 today. So now, your money is just about worthless, and the Fed will continue printing more and more of it. But what if you could turn it around, $1 at a time, and make your money worth more than it is now? How? By acquiring gold before your paper money is totally worthless. But how can you afford gold at today's prices? By buying it 1 gram at a time. And this is so important because gold is the future. For as little as $65, you can begin trading your almost worthless currency for something real, something you can hold. Carat bars, which keep their value, can be stored securely and are easily accessible, just like a savings account, but a savings account backed by your gold. Carat Bars International, a savings account you can count on. For more information, please click on the Carat Bars banner ad at republicbroadcasting.org. Again, that's the Carat Bars banner ad at republicbroadcasting.org. And start saving now.
Herbal Healer Spring Sale. 500 parts per million colloidal silver. All sizes. COQ10 with hawthorn. Glucosamine chondroitin. Sea cucumber. Colloidal minerals. Superfam and Super Male Plaques. Colon Enhancer. Our top-selling liquid. Cal Mag Vitamin D. MSM Sulfur Capsules. And Elderberry Power Capsules. We also offer certificate correspondence courses in natural medicine. Free memberships and free online newsletters also available at herbalhealer.com. Herbal Healer has been serving the natural medicine industry for 25 years. This is a company you can count on. Visit herbalhealer.com today. herbalhealer.com. That's herbalhealer.com.
Hi, my name is David Merlin from takefromcaesar.us. Income is defined in the tax code. All property is a cost, including labor, according to statute. You're deprived of the provisions of Section 83 whenever you pay an income tax on your compensation. According to Section 83, only the excess over the amount paid is gross income. The government can't so much as provide an interpretation of Section 83 of its own. Get your paradigm shift and understanding today at takefromcaesar.us.
USA.org HempUSA.org introduces 3 brand new detox formulations of microplant powder. Brain Fuel for depression, bipolar disorders, and stress. Total Care, anti-cancer agent that cleans the liver and organs and increases memory. Rejuvenate, invigorates and heals the body, mind, and spirit. These products are your alternative to pharmaceuticals. Call 888-910-4367 and like us on Facebook. We ship worldwide. Only at HempUSA.org.
Okay. Here we go again. We got a short one before the top of the hour, so I'll do this really quickly. Would it be wrong for me to, comment on what Tom just said? I did say he could have the last word. Maybe I won't. You have any thoughts on that, Jerry? What Tom said?
Good points, and I think I kind of tried to nutshell it on the break. Mm-hmm. Is that it's a complex thing, and if we look at what goes on now, even within I'll take a church scenario. The Baptist Church has 28 that I know of different groups that believe a little differently. Well, if we do that, we're always going to be arguing against each other, so we have to find some basic concepts that all of us can agree with across the board, and it's really quite simple. And once we do that, then these other impediments, we're not arguing about this versus that, or you got to do it this way, you got to do it that way. The truth is that these are the things that are important to human beings, that are conducive to a harmonious society, that are conducive to freedom, that are conducive to productivity, etc. Once we take those things and nail them, now when we go in as a group to talk to people, those things are so self-evident that they don't have to be bickered about and argued about. They're truths. They're principles. All principles don't change. They're written in stone. And I believe that I have the way to do that, and it's just me of putting stuff together that other people have done, not that my way. But once we did that, then we focus on one thing: our liberty, our freedom, our legacy we're going to pass on to our kids, and our property. Then now we've got something that we can get everybody involved in, and we're all on the same sheet of music, and that can get legs. That's my comment.
Okay, great. Hey, we got the White Rose from Colorado hanging on. Let me bring you on real quick before we go into the top of the hour break, and then we'll have a long segment. Hey, White Rose, are you there?
Yes. Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Good morning.
So what I'd like to say is this. The first thing we have to do is start using the right words, okay? Now, did you know that if you look it up in Black's Law Dictionary, there's 2 different words in there. There's inalienable with an I and unalienable with a U. And everybody keeps using unalienable with a U. And that is the absolute incorrect word to use. Inalienable with an I is defined as God-given rights that cannot be taken away from us. Unalienable with a U is defined as state-given rights that can be taken away with us. So we have to start using the right words at all times. Now, another word that I don't like...
Well, hold on. One word at a time. And we are coming up at a break. Jerry, any response to that?
Me?
Yeah, you, Jerry.
Okay.
Well, I'm doing one word at a time, and if he's coming in saying un versus in or in versus un, I'm getting confused here.
Well, so am I, because I have the Black's Law Dictionary for me, and I'm trying to find it. Okay. Inalienable is the word that allows.
Let's deal with un versus in at the next hour. Hang on, guys. We're going through the top of the hour break, and we'll be right back. You're listening to the Republic of Texas Radio. Call in if you want, 800-313-9443. We have a whole hour, and we'll get to you all. Thanks.
Are you familiar with the term vigor, strength in body and mind? He pursued his tennis game with vigor, for example. Well, I hadn't, but I learned about it from Kurt Crosby. All right? And he actually let me take a scientifically proven free vigor test. And I got 13 out of 32, not very good. But I worked on it with him. And believe it or not, now I have a 29 out of 32 and improving vigor score. You say, Sam, what on earth is this scientific vigor score, huh? My response is you got to take the free test. Available now. Get a hold of Kurt Crosby to learn about it. The number's 801-669-2211. That's 801-669-2211. Or email Kurt, C-U-R-T, at LibertyRoundtable.com. That's Kurt, C-U-R-T, at LibertyRoundtable.com for your free vigor test today. Kurt, LibertyRoundtable.com, or 801-669-2211. Vigor test, free, scientifically proven today.
This is RBN, the Republic Broadcasting Network.